Right now at 6, thousands of healthcare workers tell Providence they're going on strike.
A significant physician strike has not happened in Oregon.
How the hospital group is now preparing for the first doctor's walkout in state history.
Plus, Multnomah County's outgoing district attorney wants reduced sentences for some violent offenders, why his successor isn't thrilled about it.
If this was something that was so important and so valuable to do, this could have been done years ago.
And the search for a mythical creature turns to tragedy, while the rescuers who looked for the missing men in the wilderness now face a demoralizing crime.
To have this happen to them after they spent Christmas out in the field searching for people and returning their loved ones is disgusting to me.
Good evening. We begin at 6 with a months-long dispute between frontline healthcare workers and a local hospital group now headed to a strike. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Christine Pitawanich. Today, the union supporting Providence doctors, nurses, and other medical staff from around the state announced a 10-day notice to strike at all 8 Oregon Providence hospitals.
Libby Dowsett's live at Providence St. Vincent. Libby, sounds like this also puts a pause on negotiations.
Well, that's according to Providence administrators who say they need time to concentrate on finding doctors and nurses to fill these spots. We talked to staffers from St. Vincent's right here in Providence, Portland, who say a lack of staffing is putting their patients and them at risk as they try to do their jobs, even though administrators say they were not expecting the vote to strike this morning.
Staffing, safety, staffing, safety, staffing, safety.
Doctors at Providence say they've spent years voicing their concerns about a lack of adequate staffing and how it's putting patients at risk.
Just last night, I had someone who said, I came in here with back pain and I was sitting in the waiting room in a chair for 6 hours before I got seen.
Nurses say they have patients lined up in the waiting room.
And a lot of times we have to take care of them out in the waiting room or in the hallways of our emergency room. It's so backed up.
When it's day in, day out, month after month, day after day, week after week, it starts to wear on you and it starts to get really draining.
ER nurse Kelly Peeler telling us they are conditions she doesn't want anyone to experience.
It's not something that I'd want for myself. It's not something I want for my family. And it's definitely not something that I want to continue to be in the situation to take care of patients that way.
But Providence administrators tell us the vote to strike came as a sudden disappointment, saying the bargaining team had been holding expedited bargaining sessions last week they thought were making progress.
And you don't get to a big agreement without having a lot of small agreements.
But early Monday morning, Providence administrators received word nearly 5,000 nurses, St. Vincent hospitalists, OB hospitalists, along with other staff members at all 8 Providence, Oregon hospitals set a January 10th strike date. Providence said that stops all bargaining during the 10-day notice period.
We are taking a strike notice as people at their word saying they're going to do something. It would be irresponsible of us to not focus on how we would take care of patients during that eventuality.
The Oregon Nurses Association said it was disheartening to stop all talks.
It feels like we should be fighting for the same thing, right? Our interests and their interests should be aligned.
And Raymond Moreno said that there are 1,200 patients in the hospital system right now in Oregon, depending on them to do the right thing. And he's been an ER doctor. He understands the stressors, and he says they are still working out plans on how they will go about finding those nurses and doctors come January 10th. Back to you.
Yeah, set to strike a week from this Friday, barring a breakthrough. Libby Dowsett on the west side tonight. Thanks, Libby.
In your other headlines this evening, police have arrested and charged a driver in a deadly overnight crash in Tigard. We just got an update that 44-year-old Jason Burgess is now in custody and accused of driving drunk. The crash happened around 12:30 this morning on Highway 99 near the intersection with Southwest Canterbury Lane. Tigard police say Burgess was driving in a pickup truck and collided with a car, killing the driver of that car. Burgess is facing multiple charges, including manslaughter.
In Hillsborough, firefighters say a rechargeable battery sparked a fire over the weekend that drove a family from their home. This was just before sunrise on Saturday at a house near Southeast 30th and Cypress. Authorities have not specified exactly what type of battery was being charged in the garage or for what purpose when it ignited. The family, including children, were able to get out safely. Crews were able to save their pets.
And tomorrow is, of course, New Year's Eve, and PBOT is partnering up with Uber, Lyft, and local taxis to make sure people can afford a safe ride home. You can snag a $10 discount for ride shares like Uber and Lyft by downloading the coupon from the city's Safe Ride Home webpage. That's going to be happening tomorrow. For about $20 off a taxi ride, look for the Safe Ride Home flyer at local night spots around town. You can ask for a coupon. Also, free rides on TriMet's buses, MAX trains, and Portland streetcars start at 8 p.m. tomorrow. Joe?
Christine, we are going to be looking at some very cold temperatures wrapping up tonight and into tomorrow morning. How cold? Well, anywhere in the low to the mid 30s. And with those low temperatures, there could be the presence of some areas of freezing fog. Regardless, we will be seeing a good amount of fog to start things off tomorrow. One thing we won't be seeing tonight and a good portion of tomorrow will be the rain. Of course, up in the Oregon Cascades, they've seen over 2 feet of snow in the last 3 days. And we'll start to see the snow showers pile up again late tomorrow night and early Wednesday, up to about 5 inches possible at the end of Wednesday morning. And look at Futurecast right now. We stay dry all night and into a good portion of tomorrow morning. And then by late afternoon, early part of the evening, the rain does make another appearance right around 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. And it's a pretty quick moving system. Really, after midnight, we'll start to see drier conditions out there. But I am tracking another round of rain showers to kick off the later part of this week. And of course, the first weekend of 2025. I'll talk more about that in a few minutes.
Yeah, as we've been saying, New Year, same weather.
There you
Thanks,
go.
Jeff. Developing this evening, several convicted criminals asking to have their sentences reduced will have to wait at least another month for a Multnomah County judge's decision.
Evan Watson was in the courtroom for all the action. Evan, incoming DA Nathan Vasquez put a spotlight on this, saying he's concerned, but these hearings are fairly common practice. So what do we know?
Yeah, multiple people, including 2 men who have spent decades in state prison convicted of murder and armed robbery, respectively, were set to have a judge re-examine their fates today. Instead, their hearings are being pushed back so victims may get more notice. At what point can a convicted person's criminal charges and prison sentence be modified? Under new Oregon criminal justice reforms, a district attorney and someone convicted of a crime can together jointly ask a judge to reduce a sentence. Maybe a sentence was too harsh, and after review and years of good behavior, it, quote, no longer advances the interest of justice. But the latest round of resentencing hearings in Multnomah County caught the attention of retired Deputy District Attorney Chuck French.
I understand the law that allows someone to reconsider their sentence. It's the way it's being done that's a problem. It's the transparency problem and the ethics of government officials.
French and incoming Multnomah County DA Nathan Vasquez said they're concerned that victims aren't receiving the right kind of notification at least a month out from each hearing. Vasquez also feels current DA Mike Schmidt is trying to squeeze in these cases just a week before he leaves office.
I mean, overall, there's certainly a lot of value to SB 819, but right now with these particular ones, it just has all the appearance of being a very last-minute giveaway.
On Monday, a judge agreed to postpone most of the resentencing cases until February. That frustrated defense attorney Eliza Kaplan, who said her client's sentences are excessive for the actual crimes. They've waited years for this chance. Victims and their families were contacted appropriately, and the current protest feels political.
The incoming DA has sent out a press release about this. So I just really don't know what's going on. Like I've said to numerous people here prior to this hearing, I was on vacation and all of a sudden all of this is in the press. So it feels like a spectacle when these are already agreed upon hearings.
Schmidt's office echoed Kaplan in a statement, saying each of these petitions have been considered in a thorough process over a number of months. Essentially, this is the same work we've been doing throughout the term, and there have been similar hearings held on a monthly or bi-monthly basis throughout 2024. One of the defendants seeking help from the judge was 16 years old when he assaulted a Mount Hood Community College student with a mallet. He served his sentence and was released more than 20 years ago. Since then, he's never been convicted of a crime and is now looking to reduce his past charges so he can expunge them from his record and get certain jobs with his real estate and construction company. That's one example of a case that the judge will review again in February.
We'll keep an eye on what happens in February then. Thank you so much, Evan. Caught on camera, new video shows a close call at LAX involving the Gonzaga basketball team.
On Friday, their private charter flight from Spokane had just landed when it apparently taxied too close to an active runway right as a larger Delta jet was taking off.
Stop.
You see it there. That's the voice of an air traffic controller. It's hard to see from this perspective, right, how close they actually are, though. But the FAA says the Embraer jet carrying the Gonzaga team there crossed the holding point. That's the jet there. It stopped short of the edge of the runway itself. Okay, in a statement, the university says it is grateful this ended safely for everyone. Authorities, of course, are now investigating.